The Chicago Bulls get absolutely friggin' humiliated by the Miami Heat. Guess we'll have to talk about it. But first, gotta play the intro. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome back to Whole Lotta Bull. I'm Troy. Follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Troy. But more importantly, you can follow the show at Whole Lotta Bull. Let's get into the bullshit. Man, that was humiliating. Um, yeah, the Chicago Bulls hosting the Miami Heat. NBA Cup game. And 143 to 107 is the final score. Chicago Bulls get absolutely humiliated, embarrassed, beaten up, destroyed on their home court. And the Miami Heat quite clearly have the Chicago Bulls number. Now, yes, throughout the regular season last year, the Bulls won all three matchups against Miami, but then got destroyed and humiliated and beaten up on their home court by the Miami Heat in the play-in. And they did the exact same damn thing to the Bulls again today. And frankly, Billy Donovan just has no answer whatsoever for Eric Spoelstra and his coaching. And it doesn't seem to matter who's out of the lineup for Miami. Now, and who was it? Tyler Herro hasn't played all season. Andrew Wiggins is out. Now, someone could say that Wiggins' performance so far this season has been inconsistent. Doesn't matter. He's still one of their key players. You know, Bam Adebayo did play today, but he's just not long come back from an injury. I mean, no Terry Rozier because he's obviously been under the FBI um, investigation. No Kasparis Yakachunas. No Nikola Jovic. Now, yes, the Bulls were obviously still missing Zach Collins, who hasn't played this season. Coby White sitting out this game because he's not playing in back-to-backs now. It was obviously an interesting decision to sit Coby White in this game as opposed to tomorrow against the Washington Wizards. I would have played him in this game today and rested him tomorrow. And then, I was trying to think about what's the logic behind sitting him today versus Miami as opposed to tomorrow against the Wizards. And when you look at it, there was 2 days between his first game back and then obviously he didn't play in the back-to-backs. So there was 2 games between his 2 game, the first 2 games he played. Had he played today, there's only the 1-day break between the Portland game and today's game. So therefore, again, giving him 2 days break before he plays the Washington Wizards. And then there's a day off. They go down to New Orleans to face the Pelicans, and then the Bulls have a 3-day break. So my logical thinking is that they're just trying to give him as much break in between games as they possibly can, and decided that today was a better day to do so. And honestly, in a way, I don't think even had Coby White played today. The margin may not have been 36 points, but yeah, this I still think this would have been a beatdown because Billy Donovan just doesn't know how to coach against Eric Spoelstra whatsoever. This was an ugly fucking game. Let's be real about it. And this is not gonna be a very long video. Like, I frankly didn't want to do this video. This game was just fucking disgusting. Now, there was a bullshit ejection in this game by Tony Brothers, throwing out Kevin Huerter for flicking the ball, well, hitting the ball in another referee's direction, in which it did hit the female referee. That was clearly not Kevin Herter's intention to do so for it, the ball to hit that referee. But Tony Brothers is a little bitch and decided to throw him out. Now, was it technical foul worthy? Absolutely, that's worthy of a technical foul. You can't go doing that. But to throw him out of the game because of that, Tony Brothers, get yourself together. Stop being a little bitch. Man the fuck up. Take him up, fair and square. But that's not ejection worthy. That's just fucking pathetic. Then obviously we saw Mars Bazelis roll his ankle. Looks like he stepped on another player's foot and twisted it. Came back into the game a little bit later on, but a bit like Josh Giddey a couple of weeks ago when he rolled his ankle, you could see he wasn't the same afterwards. So who knows if Martis Bazelis does play tomorrow against the Wizards? It might be worth sitting him in that game, especially if it stiffens up and potentially swells up. Um, obviously after that today's game was completed and overnight. We also did see Isaac Okoro go down with a bit of an injury. Looked like he had a bit of a, I think the Bulls were saying it was a lower back complaint. Obviously, something I do remember an incident being happened late third quarter or fourth quarter. Can't quite remember. It's been a few hours since the game finished. But at time of recording, um, so it'd be interesting to see if Isaac Okoro is available to play tomorrow as well against the Wizards. And Nikola Vucevic, absolute dog shit in this game. 6 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, only 8 shots. Now he was being guarded by, Khalil Ware and Bam Adebayo, so, stronger, more athletic. Well, Bam Adebayo's definitely stronger and more athletic. Khalil Ware, taller, far more athletic. Stacey King calling him a Victor Wembanyama light. Stacey, I love you, dude, but I don't know about that. I can kind of understand what he's getting at. Like Khalil Ware is big and long, but Victor Wembanyama light. Oh, I don't know. He Khalil Ware's got nowhere near the skill set of Wembanyama. But hey, is what it is. And Patrick Williams actually fouls out in this game, so it's whether a lot of these are like ticky tacky fouls or half some of them are legitimate, but very interesting to see Patrick Williams actually foul out in a game. Is that the first time he's fouled out in his career? Um, a bit like the playing game. Josh Giddey, the best performer on the court against Miami Heat, he finished with 19 points, 11 boards, 9 assists. So 1 assist shy of a triple double there, but ultimately this game meant jack shit. And now a lot of us have said this on Twitter, and I know Casey Johnson put out the reporting as to why, giving Billy Donovan's reason as to why. But there was absolutely no fucking reason in the fourth quarter for Josh Giddey to play in this game at all. Now, the official reason was that, yes, we'll obviously down Kevin Herter with the ejection. Patrick Williams was fouled out in the end. Martis Bazelis and Isaac Okoro ruled out. The Bulls were down to 7 healthy players total, well, available. And Trey Jones was reaching his limits minute. Now, I understand they don't want to breach a player's minutes restrictions, but when you have your star player on the court down the stretch of basically a 40-point blowout, instead of putting him on the bench, avoiding any possible unnecessary stupid injury, all because you don't want to go over a player's minutes restrictions, is fucking ridiculous. That is just some of the dumbest shit I've heard. Like, be damned with the minutes restrictions. Trey Jones would have been perfectly fine. He would have been totally fine. You're gonna suffer more as a team overall if Josh Giddey had copped some stupid injury, or what if he rolled his ankle again? What if he done his knee? in a meaningless NBA Cup 40-point blowout. Billy Donovan, that was some stupid shit. You sit Josh Giddey in that situation. Be damned with the minutes restrictions for Trey Jones. Hey, I like Trey Jones. I want to make sure he's obviously healthy as well. But be damned with the minutes restrictions. Get your main guy off the court in in this situation. He does not need to be out there whatsoever. Fucking stupid. It, Ball's getting killed again by players that now again. I don't watch Miami Heat basketball. I only watch the Chicago Bulls. Who the hell's Pile Larson? Peel Larson, whatever the fuck his name is. Who the hell is Rashad Johnson? Are these guys rookies? I don't know who these guys, but Bulls getting killed by these dudes. Like again, going back to that Detroit Pistons game. Now, obviously, Janice Jenkins or whatever the fuck his name is, like he's had a very nice stretch of games for the Pistons. But even going back to that game at that point, as I said after the game, who the fuck is this dude? Who who are you? Some undrafted free agent, two-way player? Bulls getting killed by a bunch of nobodies yet again. And now I can understand. Now, don't get me wrong. Bulls were playing, what was it, their fifth game in 7 days. I don't give a shit what point of the season it is. I don't care if it's the first week of the season, middle of the season, towards the final few games of the season. 5 games in 7 days is fucking brutal. It is absolutely brutal, especially when there's back to backs and that. You've had to play a double overtime game, which, yeah, we all know they should have won. But you played a double overtime game, and then the next night you played the Denver Nuggets. So you've played 5 games in 7 days. 3 of those over on the West Coast, 2 of those in high altitude, being Denver and Utah, like Salt Lake City. So yes, there is going to be an element of the Bulls players being tired. And some can say, well, it's no excuse. We're only X amount of games into the season. You go play 5 games of NBA basketball in 7 days in double overtime, high altitude conditions, away from home. Let's see how fresh you still are come the very tail end of that, and then you got to play another game tomorrow. Let's see how fresh you are. Guarantee you're going to be dog tired too. But that being said, as well, as I said on Twitter, it did also seem like the Bulls came into this game knowing that they're down. Andrew Wiggins, Tyler Herro hasn't played this season. Nikola Jovic was out. That maybe the Bulls just thought they were going to come out onto the court and just take care of business and have this game on wax by three-quarter time and be done with it. Instead, they get blown the fuck out and embarrassed on their home court. That shit was just flat out blatantly embarrassing. And I really don't have anything else to say. That they better fucking respond tomorrow. Tomorrow, got the Washington Wizards. I will do my post game almost straight after that game. Obviously, I will catch Hayes on Chicago Bulls Central first. Um, but yeah, the game against the Wizards tomorrow. That's a game they need to bounce back. And it is also the Ring of Honor game as well with the inductees. We got Bill Cartwright, Storm and Norman Van Leer, obviously John Paxson, Horace Grant. There was a couple, Johnny Buck. So I think there's six. From memory, six. I think I've named 5 of them. Now, one thing I hope happens tomorrow with the on-court celebration for the Ring of Honor from the fans. Now, I know a lot of us have had a lot of disagreements. Some had some hate towards John Paxson towards the end of his tenure as the Chicago Bulls vice president of basketball operations. Please, to everyone who attends the United Center tomorrow for this game, be there to celebrate John Paxson, the player. John Paxson, the player, meant a lot to that Chicago Bulls team. He was there from the early '80s through to the mid '90s. Part of that three-peat. Had that huge game against the Lakers in Game 5 of the '91 Finals. Hit that game-winning shot against the Phoenix Suns in the '93 Game 6 of the '93 Finals to clinch the championship. John Paxson was a massive part of this Bulls as a player. Also, we all know that he spent time in the broadcasting booth, which Neil Funk. That's the other one as well. He spent some time in the booth with Neil Funk. Shout out Neil. Good to see him back on the call today, and hopefully, we'll see him on the call again tomorrow potentially. And then obviously he became the Bulls general manager slash executive vice president of basketball operations. And Pax did some great things as the Bulls VP of basketball ops. You know, he turned he flipped the roster from what Jerry Krause finished with, brought in a number of good players. Now, see if I can quickly, I should have brought this up before I started talking about this, but let's bring up some of the players that John Paxson brought to the Chicago Bulls team in his time as the VP of basketball operations. Now, shout out to C Red Fred who replied to my tweet about it, saying what we're celebrating John Paxson for, but also came back with who he brought into this team. And actually, shout out to Justin from Justin Talks Hoops as well, formerly of the Bloody Horns podcast. They brought in Kirk Heinrich, Ben Gordon, Lal Dang, Andreas Nocioni, Chris Duan, uh, Joakim Noah, Taj Gibson, Derek Rose, Amir Rashid, Nikola Mirotic, uh, Jimmy Butler, Larry Markkinen. Now, there was a lot more good than bad, as Justin mentioned in his reply to me. But obviously, towards the very end of his tenure here in Chicago, mean, there was a lot of bad stuff, and frankly, he also quit because he just didn't know how to build a team around Jimmy Butler, and also ended up trading him, and he just got to a point where he realized he couldn't do this job anymore. He didn't know what to. He was obviously out of ideas, so he took it upon himself to go up to Jerry Ryan's office and say, "Hey, it's time to go in a new direction. Get someone else in here to run the basketball operations." But just remember, Bulls fans, that the ones that who do attend tomorrow, celebrate John Paxson, the player. That's what you're there to do. I don't want to see any of that bullshit that we saw a couple of years ago with the original, like with the first Ring of Honor celebrations, where Jerry Krause's widow was left in tears because when Jerry Krause was announced, there was nothing but booze. Jerry Krause, as I would have said back on my old audio only podcast back then, the Bulls, he put together those championship teams. Obviously all the credit goes to Michael and Scotty and Phil, but Jerry drafted Scotty. Jerry drafted Horace Grant. Jerry made Phil Jackson the head coach. Jerry brought in Dennis Rodman. Jerry traded Charles Oakley for Bill Cartwright. Jerry did a lot of great things for the Chicago Bulls. So it was disgusting to see a couple of years ago that he was booed when they were announced and leaving his widowed wife in tears. Don't want to see that shit when John Paxson is announced tomorrow to the crowd. Again, he had a lot more good than bad as his time as general manager and EVP. But again, sound like a broken record. You're there to celebrate him as a player. And then also congratulations to all the other inductees to the Ring of Honor, Horace Grant, and an absolute integral part of the Chicago Bulls' first three-peat. Again, like I just mentioned, drafted in that same draft class as Scottie Pippen back in '87, was the third best player on that championship team, or those championship teams, 91 through 93. The Bulls don't win those titles without Horace Grant. He brought an element to those teams that was sorely needed. I mean, it obviously gave the Bulls the ability to trade away Charles Oakley for Bill Cartwright. I mean, obviously, we all know Bulls fans were upset back in the day when Horace left the Bulls to go join Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway down in Orlando, and then that '95 playoff series where Horace Grant was, the Magic won, and he was celebrating, waving the towel. But good to see Horace Grant back with the Chicago Bulls organization in a ambassador role. So congrats to him, congrats to Neil Funk, congrats to Storm and Norman Van Leer, congrats to Johnny Buck, the orchestrator of the defense during the championship era, the Doberman defense, I believe it was called. So congrats to everyone who's in the Ring of Honor. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode because yeah, there's not much to talk about from that Bulls game. It was absolute fucking dog shit, and I need to see the Bulls respond tomorrow against the Washington Wizards. Hopefully, they come out with a point to prove, get that game done and dusted by three-quarter time, sit the starters, fly out to New Orleans, go smack the Pelicans, and let's restore order. And now the Bulls are starting to head into a bit of an easier stretch of the schedule where all the teams coming up got a combined winning record of less than 40%. So let's see what the Bulls can do. Let's get this dub against the Wizards tomorrow, and hopefully get things back on track. And there's a nice stretch. There's a nice stretch of games coming out. The Bulls can do something good and get their record in a nice spot. All right, guys. Until tomorrow. I'm Troy. Follow me on Twitter at @balls_Troy. Follow the show at Whole Lotta Bull. Hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Do it on your way out. So until next time, Bulls fans. See you, Red. Be good.